Hello, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics Last Non-Classics. This is episode number 241 and Doubleshot number 174. First up, Batman by Ed Brubaker, Volume 1, collecting Batman number 582 to 586, and 591 to 597, and Batman Worlds of War number 1. Now, some of you probably want to know, where the heck is 87 to 587 to 590? Well, those issues are collecting a couple trades. 587 is collected in the trade New Gotham Officer Down Volume 2. As for 588 to 590, that's in a trade called Batman False Faces, which is a trade that crosses over with Wonder Woman. That's where you can find those issues. Anyways, and the reason why also those issues are not in here because Brubaker didn't write them. But at least those other issues are collected. Yep. Now, pretty much. Now, in this particular set of issues, these 12 issues plus the Worlds of One shot, you get introduction to this character right here. Ziesis, I think it's how you pronounce the guy's name. He's the main villain for the first 12 issues of Ed Brubaker's run. And his whole stick is that he has these goggles and he's very majestic. And also, when you see he's taking off his goggles, he has his eyes stapled open. I'm like, really? Also, how the heck can you sleep with your eyes stapled open? And also, did you clean up all the blood or something? It just seems so weird, the fact his eyes are open. Oh, yeah. And it kind of looks like he hasn't slept for weeks because his eyes are so red. I'm sure that when he was arrested at the end of this trade, he probably had not only the staples, but he probably also had his eyes treated as well. But this guy's whole shtick is that he's more obsessed with beating Batman in a fight than he is doing his actual job, which is basically just working for the Penguin, and of course working for some crime boss too, whose daughter Bruce Wayne is dating. Her name is like Malone, I think her name is. Yeah, her father used to be a big-time crime boss in Gotham, but I think he's since retired. And I think Bruce Wayne's relationship with the woman ends by the time this particular story ends. And the Worlds of War is basically the whole thing with the alien invasion stuff. Well, it's nice the fact they threw this in there, that one shot, because Brubaker did write it. So, I guess DC thought, let's see. Besides some of these 12 issues in there, let's just throw in that Worlds of War one shot in it because he wrote that too. Now, these issues basically are printed over the course of 3 years. From 2000 to 2002. Now, the artist for this book, for most of the stories, is Scott McDaniel. Yes, who was also the artist on the series Nightwing. Yep. He was the artist for the series Nightwing for the first few years of that title. And my guess is he must have ended his tenure in that book and moved over to Batman, where he was on the book for, and one of the good things about this particular run of Brubaker, not only chance to see Tim Drake and, if you're wondering who the woman looks like, let's see. Here she is. This is the woman Bruce Wayne. This is Bruce Wayne's love interest for this first half of Brubaker's run. Her name is Mallory Maxon. That is her name. She's a very stunning redhead. I've never seen her. This is the only time she appears in the comics. She hasn't appeared since the storyline wrapped up. But one of the really good things about this particular time is that there's a couple issues where Batman fights. Let's see, where's that cover? There we go. Where Batman fights Deadshot. Yes, he fights Deadshot. For the first time in years, he fights this character. Yeah, freaking Deadshot. Yeah, he shows up for 2 issues in here. He shows up for 591 and 592. It's great to see him in the Batman book. Aside from these 2 issues, he hasn't fought Batman in a while. After Crisis of Earth Earths, he never showed up in the Batman book until Brubaker brought him in. My guess is the reason Brubaker brought him in because at this point, it had been probably close to about 15 years since 15, 16 years since Deadshot has fought Batman. So I figured, though, why not throw him in? And, of course, at the time, I think this was probably just after the Suicide Squad Volume 2 wrapped up. They probably figured, oh, why not just throw him in? I mean, Suicide Squad Volume 2 just wrapped up, and that volume got canceled at 12 issues. The volume was done by Keith Giffen, Jane Mathis. And Deadshot was in all 12. Well, he was in most of the issues of that series. But anyways, that's why I think he's in here, because, well, they wrapped up the Suicide Squad series, so they figured out why not use him again. So they drew him here for a couple issues, and then a few years after this, he gets his own mini-series. He still works for Suicide Squad now and again, but it's nice to see Deadshot in a page of Batman book. Now, this book just came out just very recently, like in the last, well, this book came out just like in the last few months, but it's nice the fact that the library got a chance to get their hands on this book. This book is great writing. Now, unlike Marvel Comics, which had terrible artwork at times in the early 2000s, DC at times would have that in some of the books, but Scott McDaniel is not a terrible artist. He's actually pretty good. The artwork looks very cartoony. I mean, would you describe the artwork in this cover be very cartoony? Kind of. Yes, it's kind of cartoony. That's my perspective of it. But this is still good. It's also nice to see the Penguin here as well. He actually appears in almost every single issue, aside from this character on the cover. Penguin appears in almost every single issue as well, which is nice, the fact they get a chance to use the Penguin. And yeah, I kept complaining the fact that Penguin is like the most frequently seen villain in the DC universe. And of course, Lex Luthor made the second most of my appearances, most recently. But yeah, awesome trade. Highly recommended, especially if you're a Brubaker fan. Now, the only reason why I think they decided to do this now, well, for a couple reasons. One, because Batman Superman came out recently, and of course, people are fans of Brubaker's run, which kind of begs the question: what about Larry Hama's run? This run came up before this one did, so why not put that in trade? Well, I can probably think of the reason why they probably wouldn't put that in trade. Probably not very immediately, because I've read those issues. Larry Hama's run. I mean, Larry Hama's good running G.I. Joe and other stuff, but his run for Batman was just okay. This was better. But that does not discount Larry Hama as a good writer. It's just that his run for Batman was just okay, and introducing villains that no one's seen since his run wrapped up. Now, I wasn't disappointed when I originally read these issues, but I still enjoyed them, even after the second time reading these issues. But I give this a 9 out of 10. It's great. Scoot that over there. Alright, next up is Batman Arkham-Scarecrow. And this book is just a collection of some of his great stories, some of his best stories, like from his first appearance from What's Finest number 3. And plus is also his appearance from Detective Comics 73, 389, 503, 571, and of course his Villains Month one-shot. For Batman, it's 189, 296, Batman Annual number 19, and 523 to 524, and the Joker Asylum Scarecrow one-shot. Now, one thing I should also, basically, people are fans of Perry J. Tomasi. He writes the Villains Month one-shot. He writes the Scarecrow one-shot for the Villains Month. As a matter of fact, that's the only thing he writes in here. You have at least 3 issues written by Doug Moak. He writes the Batman Annual and 523 to 524 of Batman. Jerry Conway just writes just one issue of Detective Comics. Bill Finger writes his first appearance. Don Cameron writes his second appearance. Gardner Fox is the Batman issue. Frank Ribbons writes the 4th comic in here. David R.E. is one of the Batman writers. And of course, Jerry Conway and Mark Brewer writes respective issues of Batman, Detective Comics. Now, let me show you some artwork in here. This is from the one I'm showing you. This is from Batman 296. Yeah, this is a sample of some of the artwork you would see in here. Like, some you would see from the classic, like, Golden Age of comics. And the artwork does change. But the one thing that's consistent about the Scarecrow is how they frequently retell his origin story. Now, this is from the 70s. Okay. Let's see here. Here's some more artwork. I think this next one's from the 90s. Yeah, I think so. I think this is from either the 90s or the 80s. I'm not really sure. But this one right here, this is from the Joker Silent One Shot. This is a different artist. Looks very glare heavy, somewhat, and very bright. Yeah. Julian Doe. I nothing against his artwork. It just feels very much like it's pulled from a cartoon. Yeah. Now here's the artwork from the Scarecrow one shot, done by Seisman Kendrazinski. I think that's how you pronounce it. Let's see. Let's try a good picture. It's not grotesque. Yeah, this one's okay. Now the problem with this artwork is, this is a big complaint for some people who are fans of the villains. I mean, the biggest complaint of this artwork is how the artist draws Poison Ivy. Yeah, if you look at that face, that looks like a face of a guy. Yeah, I heard when this issue first came out, I saw a review of it, basically that the artist looked like, the way from a review I saw of it, that he thought that Poison Ivy looked like a guy, but easy to tell, yeah, it's Poison Ivy, but it's probably in the face that looks like very much like a guy. I wouldn't say this issue is bad. No, the writing is solid. The artwork is just, I would say it's just passable at best. That what you would say for the artwork for the Scarecrow one shot for Villains Month, which is like 23. I think it's Detective Comics 23.3. It's a pretty decent one shot for what it is, but the rest of the stuff in here is really good. Even the Joker Silent one shot for Scarecrow is actually really good as well. Now the reason why they're doing now this is actually the I think this is the third trade they've done for Arkham. Yeah, Batman Arkham trades. Yeah, the first one they did was for Riddler, and then they did for Two-Face, and now for Scarecrow. Now there's two other ones soon coming out. One is for, they're doing one for Poison Ivy, and they're doing one for Killer Croc, which is great. I'm probably gonna do a separate video of what other type of Batman Arkham trades or other villains I'd like to see. Maybe they can get the same treatment for Superman villains. That might be interesting. But I think the reason why I do it for the Batman villains is because they're more popular. That's my guess. Excuse me. But this is still good. I do recommend people who are fans of Batman, especially people who are fans of the Scarecrow. Yeah, if you're basically just only known for this character due to like the cartoons or the Christopher Nolan trilogy or even the Batman Arkham video games, this is definitely a book I recommend to anybody. Basically, it's just some early appearances, some frequent appearances that he made over years, including his debut appearance, which is nice the fact they threw that in there. But the thing is, they frequently re-show, sort of like they take panels from that particular issue and they sort of put it in other books. I've seen a couple times where they sort of just retell his origin story several times. Like they use the same like panels, but they just update the artwork, and they just change the dialogue. That's all they do. But that's a minor complaint for anybody who has read the Scarecrow origin story, which, as far as I can tell, has remained pretty much intact. Now, the Scarecrow one-shot in here does not retell his origin story. I think that maybe if they retell his origin story, people will be upset because they've already retold the origin story of at least two Batman villains, Clayface and Two-Face. They're the only ones who actually retold the origin story of those two. Oh, and Mr. Freeze as well. But yeah. This is awesome, but I'm glad the fact left Scarecrow alone when it comes to retelling his origin story, because his origin story is pretty simple at best. I mean, that's simply what it is. But this is still really good. 9.5 out of 10. Highly recommend it, despite the fact this book is expensive. This book is like, basically for regular price, this book is actually $20. So, that's actually no more price for some trades nowadays, but the Some trades I've seen basically, which are this length, are usually about $35, maybe more. But that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for next episode, which should be episode 242 and Doubleshot number 175. I'll have something planned for that one. But until then, see you there. Bye.